Hey everybody, happy Wednesday everyone. I hope that you all enjoyed your pasta with meat sauce yesterday. Today's little cook along for Simon dinners, we are doing a sesame roasted chicken with a little bit of broccoli rabe and a white bean mash puree kind of setup. A lot of people have beans. It's one of the things that people keep saying that they have, both canned, dry, and frozen. So great substitute for like a mashed potato. And also if you're trying to be a little healthier, it's a much healthier version too. A lot of fiber and protein in beans. And because I know I'm going to get a question right away, people said, what if I don't eat meat? I had a half a head of cauliflower, which you could use as your chicken. We just cut it in half like this. Now, obviously, if you're a vegetarian, you would not put it on the same tray as your chicken, but I'm not, so there we go. All right, so here's how this works. It's a really easy sauce to make. I have peanut butter. I'm using creamy because that's the peanut butter that I have. If you have chunky, extra chunky, it doesn't matter. Use whatever peanut butter you have. 3 tablespoons of peanut butter. To that, we're going to add the juice of a lime and the juice of an orange, which is a couple ounces. But any citrus will do here. You could use 2 oranges, 2 limes, 2 lemons, a mix of them, doesn't matter. And then I'm going to add a little bit of soy. If you don't have soy, Worcestershire is a very good substitution in that world. A little bit of soy. A little bit of, I'm using sesame oil. If you don't have sesame oil, olive oil, grapeseed oil, avocado oil will all work. Obviously the sesame oil gives it a little bit of a sesame flavor, which we like. I'm also going to sprinkle some sesame seeds in there. If you like things a little spicy, you could grab a hot sauce you have in your fridge, put in a couple of splashes of hot sauce and a little bit of chili flake. Now for a sweetener, because we need a little bit of sweet, you're going to put the same amount of sweetener as you do peanut butter. I personally use peanut butter that is just ground peanuts, so there's no sweetener in the peanut butter. So I'm using equal parts. If you use a peanut butter that already has a good amount of sugar in it, you could cut the sugar down by half. Honey works, maple syrup, works. You could obviously, agave, a little bit of brown sugar. Any of those things would work. Base it on your peanut butter selection. You could go a little bit of both if you want, honey and maple, either way. And then we're just gonna whisk this up. And the great thing about this sauce is it's salty, it's sweet, it's got a little bit of heat to it, and the peanut butter really gives it some really nice body. And this could work, this could work for satays, kebabs, for pork. You could brush it on beef, but really white meats, this works really, really nice.
Shannon's asking, she's allergic to peanuts. Could she use almond butter?
Any nut butter would work here. If you're allergic to peanuts, any nut butter would work. So this is our little sauce. I'm going to reserve about that much of it for the plate when we're done, and then we're going to brush the rest right on our stuff. So I have a pastry brush. I'm going to season with some kosher salt, and then we're going to give it a brush. So put it all on there, and we're just going to start brushing. And I have my oven set at around 400. Now, when you're roasting chicken, vegetables, whatever, the temperatures vary. You'll see you'll see anywhere from 325 to up to 500. A lot of it has to do with what you're comfortable with, and a lot of it has to do with how much time you have. I like to roast chicken hot and fast. So I go at a higher heat, 400, 425, 450. This I'm going a little bit closer to 400 because there is some sugar and sweetness in this glaze, and I don't want it to burn. I want it to caramelize. I want there to be some color, but I don't want it to burn. Any questions, Liv?
Yes. We have a fan asking, does it matter what kind of chicken they're using here?
No, in the recipe I think I said take a whole chicken, cut it into 8 pieces. This came in half, so I just had it in half, so I left it in half so I could cut it up afterwards. You could use thighs, legs, wings, breasts, boneless, skinless, kind of whatever you have. I always prefer, my perfect world is to cook chicken bone in, skin on, because about 60% of the flavor and the moisture is in the skin and the bones. So when you cook something boneless, skinless, you're eliminating about 60% of the flavor. You could always take the skin off and take the bone out after it's cooked, and then you get the benefit of it imparting flavor into the chicken as it's cooking. Now, if you have boneless, skinless chicken, it's gonna cook very fast. So we're gonna put this in our hot oven, and it's gonna take, you're gonna cook it middle shelf. I put parchment on a sheet tray. Oh boy, get in there. Hi, Norman. It's gonna take around 35 to 45 minutes, depending on how big your chickens are and all that kind of stuff. What you really want to do, if this is your first time making the dish, take a meat thermometer, check the thigh, the thickest part of the thigh or the thickest part of the breast. It needs to read 160. Once it reads 160, it's done. You pull it out, you can let it rest for a little bit. I also let the chicken sit out for about 25-30 minutes to come to room temperature before I put it in the oven so it cooks evenly. I don't want the outside to overcook and the inside to undercook. So take it out of your fridge, let it sit for 30 minutes, then go in the oven. What else do we got, Liv?
Connie is asking, does wax paper work the same as parchment paper?
I always use parchment or foil, are the two that I have. I would imagine, I don't know if wax, it's a good question. I never use wax paper. Yes. I don't know. I'm not sure of the answer.
We have another fan asking, does it matter if you don't whisk it and if you stir it instead?
As long as you could get it to a smooth consistency, that's all I care about. Whisk makes it, I think, is the easiest way to do it, but you could use a spoon. I would say a fork would work better than a spoon, but do you.
Barbara is asking, do you use bake or convection, and what's the difference?
Okay, so here's the difference. Convection usually runs about 25 degrees hotter than this says. So if you're setting it at 375, it's actually about 400. I tend to like to use convection when I bake, and when I'm cooking savory, I don't use it. People say I'm crazy, but I feel that fan blowing around dries out the meat a little bit. People say I'm nuts. It's just how I feel, so I can't change how I feel. Just how I feel.
A lot of people are upset that you aren't wearing slippers today.
You know what? I don't think they're upset. I was running around today, and I put on my favorite Vans, made me feel a little bit normal. You know, my grandfather, my 102-year-old grandfather, Pat, the people that have been working with him have been showing him some of the videos and stuff. And he's very big on, like, at 102, he still shaves every day. He does, you know, he goes through his routine. So if the word got out to him that I was walking around in slippers all day, I would have gotten a little bit of trouble. So just one day of shoes, and we'll be back in the slippers tomorrow.
A lot of people are saying wax paper should not be used in the oven because it will melt.
There you go. That's what I was thinking, but I never use it, so that's what it sounds that way to me. All right, olive oil, garlic. The garlic is getting translucent. We don't want it to brown. We're going to put in a pinch of salt. To this, we are going to add our white beans. I'm using canned white beans that have been rinsed. And then to that, we're going to add 2 ounces of chicken stock. You could use water here. You could use different flavor stocks, whatever you want. Liv, how many ounces are in a cup?
6.
No,
12,
8, Liv.
8. Shoot.
So this is a quarter of a cup. We were testing Liv on her measurements today. I thought she had it. She failed.
Listen, we all have different
Graduates at the top of her class, goes to UCLA, such a smart girl. Gone.
6 and 8, they're close.
Yeah, 6 and 8.
Listen, you're the cook. I'm just here. I'm an iPhone girl.
iPhone executive producer.
Yeah.
All right. So the next thing that we're going to do is I have some broccoli rabe here. There's a lot of different names for this at the store. Broccoli rabe, broccolini, you know, but it's like baby broccoli. So it just, you can see the stem, the little florets on the top. This was not in the greatest of shape when I got it, but I wanted to grocery store didn't want to throw it out, and I wanted to make sure that we weren't wasting. So when you get it, if there's like some yellowness in the stems or in the leaves, just pick some of that out. It's still going to taste great. You know, this is one of those times I think at the grocery stores they're scrambling just like we're scrambling. So just clean it up as best you can. And then to this, we're going to add a little bit of extra virgin oil or whatever oil you have, a little bit of kosher salt, the sesame seeds, and some cracked black pepper. And what I did earlier is, so we weren't waiting 45 minutes for everything to get done, is I put another chicken tray in earlier, which only has about 10 minutes or so to go now. So once your chicken has been cooking for a half hour, you're going to take your broccoli rabe and you're going to put it on that same tray. It's, you know, it's a sheet tray chicken essentially. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow the broccoli rabe to roast with the chicken while it's finishing, so this won't overcook and everybody's happy. So here we go. And you can see this, look at how it's getting that beautiful color.
Oh yeah.
And it's really shellacked. I'm at 400 degrees, but we got really nice color there. I'm going to place my rabe right around here, and you could use any veg you want here. Anybody in the broccoli and friends category on your substitution cheat sheet.
And so the cauliflower and the chicken cook for the same amount of time?
Same amount of time, yeah. It's gonna, so the cauliflower is gonna be nice and caramely on the outside, and then it's gonna be nice, and I'm just turning this down a little bit because I don't want that chicken to brown anymore, and the broccoli rabe will cook. But you don't, again, not a necessity, we'll just go. What do we got for questions, Liv?
Pam is wondering if grapeseed oil ever goes bad.
Anything can go bad. If you've had it for a long time and it's been open and it hasn't been in a cool, dark place, it can get acrid. So taste it, and if it tastes off to you, it's bad. You know, don't use it. But you know, oils, we go through cooking oils very quickly because we cook every night and most days. So we never have that problem, but just store your olive oil, your grapeseed oil, your avocado oil in a cool, dark place in your pantry, and you'll be good to go. You don't need to refrigerate it, just keep it in a cool, dark place. So the beans are simmering now. They have the garlic, the stock, a little bit of salt in there, that's it. And all we're gonna do is buzz these up till they're smooth. I'm gonna serve these hot because this is a hot dish, but this is a great, if you wanna do something like this and eat, you could even throw some fresh herbs in it, or different things, and let it cool, and you could have a dip, you know, for vegetables and things like that. It's a delicious dip also. I'm doing it with white beans. You could use black beans, kidney beans. If you use chickpeas, it would be a little bit more in the style of a hummus. I mean, not a traditional hummus, but a hummus nonetheless.
And would you be able to freeze this puree?
The puree will freeze beautifully. You'll have to reheat it and whisk it when it reheats because the oil will separate a little bit on the freeze. So in our mixer, and I'm just gonna get this pulsing until it's smooth, and it's gonna form almost like a sauce / dip, which is gonna go on the base of our plate for our chicken. And you just wanna get it as smooth as you can. You could probably also do this in a blender because it's pretty loose. So that's what you do.
A couple fans are asking if there's any spices they could add to this.
To this? Yeah, absolutely. Toasted coriander would be great. A little splash of paprika would be great. If you wanted it spicy, a little cayenne or hot sauce would work in there. A little chipotle adobo, if you have it, would be great in there. If you wanted to kind of go a little bit more, you know, like Greek or Middle Eastern, like za'atar would be fantastic if you have a za'atar blend. All those things would work really, really good in there. I'm actually going to put a little bit of like a chili, just to bump it up because that fan just inspired me, and I like that.
Justin's wondering if he could use an immersion blender for the beans.
You can. They won't get as smooth, but you certainly can. Check these for salt. A little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper. If I don't, it's funny, even when we're doing these cooking classes and you don't get the taste at home, we all taste at the end. And if things aren't seasoned correctly, Liz will let me know. So I got to make sure everything is of the proper seasoning so I don't get in trouble with the boss afterwards. Don't look at me like that, Lizzie. You know it's true. I see you over there. What are you drinking, Lizzie? What do you got? What are you drinking? A little wine? A little vino?
You know, a lot of fans have said they wonder why we don't drink wine while we're cooking.
We probably should. Liz does.
At least one of us is.
Yeah. All right, so now we have this great little puree, and you can see it's loose, and it's going to make like a great sauce underneath our chicken. And if you let it chill, it would thicken a little bit as it was chilling if you wanted to use it for a dip. And I would put, if I was going to use it for a dip also, I would probably do a little less. I would cut the stock to probably an ounce and go a little bit more heavy on the oil. But it's going to be great. It gives it a lot of body. And again, if you're trying to, a lot of people do mashed cauliflower. Liv, I'm sure, especially your age. The mashed cauliflower is very big. Cauliflower risotto is very big. But you know, beans are one, they're cheaper. But two, you know, you get that that mashed cauliflower effect, but you also get a good amount of protein, fiber, everything in there.
A couple people are asking the difference between kosher salt and table salt.
Kosher salt and table salt. So table salt is iodized. You know, I don't use. Be careful, Norman. That's very hot. I don't use iodized salt. I cook with kosher. I finish with C. Iodized salt to me, I don't love it for cooking. It makes food taste salty. The purpose of salt, and why you watch chefs sometimes and you watch cooking shows and it seems like maybe they're using a lot of salt. One, they're cooking everything from scratch typically, so there's no salt to start. And then the other thing is salt pulls the flavors to food and opens up your palate to taste things better. Salt, horseradish, and acidity really open up your palate. So to salt something to pull out the flavor, you put in a good amount of salt. If you do that with iodized salt, it'll make the food taste salty, which we don't want the food to taste salty. We want to bring all the flavors to the forefront. So to me, iodized salt makes food taste salty. So that's why I don't use it. That's why I use kosher or C. So this is nothing short of spectacular. And you can see that. Now you could serve it just like that. You could cut it up if you'd like. And all these great juices too. So we have, I'll show you in a sec. So as the chicken was cooking, you get kind of this great, almost like jus, the drippings that come from the chicken, and they mix with some of that peanut sauce that is broken down, which is great to just drizzle around there. It's a mixture of like the chicken, juice, the peanuts. I mean, that's really nice.
Okay, we're getting a lot of questions about your thoughts on pink Himalayan salt.
Pink Himalayan salt's nice. It's very fancy. I have nothing against it. I like kosher and C. That's just it. But the pink Himalayan salt is great. I know a lot of chefs that use it and they love it. And you know, I really enjoy it too. You can see this is cooked perfectly through. This one, I put in. It cooked. Let me look at the clock right now. This cooked for 40 minutes at 400 degrees, and this was a pretty large chicken. So, and you could see it's really, look, could you get in there, watch, see the juice?
Oh yeah.
So it's super juicy and cooked all the way through, which is what we want. Taste another piece.
Amber's asking if she's using broccoli instead of broccoli rabe. Does that change the cook time at all?
No, it'll be about the same. Maybe go a little bit earlier with the broccoli. but maybe an extra 5 minutes. It just depends too, like everyone, how al dente do you like your vegetables? I like my vegetables to have a little bit of crunch to them. So, you know, I'm going quick with those. I had some cilantro. Just gonna throw a couple leaves of cilantro on there. Because I like cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, don't worry about it. I'm gonna put a little bit more chili flakes on top because that's for me, but that is optional. And then a little bit more. I mean, do not waste this juice. This juice is like, it's like the drippings.
Could you save the juice for anything?
You could say, yeah, you could, but it'll. I mean, you have enough juice for this. But if you wanted to refrigerate it, you could refrigerate it and save it and warm it up when you need it for later. That would work. So that's it.
I mean, that's beautiful.
That's a, you know, 1 pan chicken, 1 pan sesame chicken, white bean puree, and a little broccoli rabe. You know, it presents really nice. It looks very fancy, or a little bit fancier than it actually is. You guys saw it came together lickety split. All with things that you should have in your pantry. Obviously, the most expensive thing here is the chicken itself. But a whole chicken, at least out here right now, a whole chicken is about $7.50. This could feed, a whole chicken of this size could feed 4 people, no problem. So you're looking, with the beans and the broccoli rabe and the whole thing, you're looking at $2 a person for dinner, and you get it on the table quick, so it's a win-win, I think, all the way around. Usually I'm a thigh guy, but I'm going to go for the breast right here. I had to make some extra because this style chicken is Kyle's favorite, so I'm going to leave some at the door for him to pick up tonight. So good. It's got a little bit of spice to it. It's got the richness from the peanut.
And what about the cauliflower over there? How's that doing?
Oh, all right, I'll try some cauliflower.
I mean,
all right, Liv. I don't know.
You gotta go full circle.
I don't know. Lizzie will love the cauliflower, as will Kyle's wife, Krista. Liz is starting to eat a little bit of meat again, which has been like one of the greatest gifts of this whole thing to me. Cauliflower. Wow, cauliflower is really good.
See, aren't you glad I had you do that?
I love veggies, but see, here's what's great too. At this hot temperature, you could see it's got this great glaze crunch on the outside, but it's still, listen, it's still al dente in the middle, and it cooked the same amount of time as the chicken. So that's a win-win for everybody. You could go vegetarian, you could go both, you could go chicken. A lot of options here. One more question, Liv, until tomorrow. Make it a good one,
There's so
Liv.
many. I know this is a lot of pressure.
Your favorite question, Liv. What is it?
Okay. Okay. Jamie's wondering, could she have used chickpea instead of beans here?
Chickpeas would have been great. Chickpeas, black beans, you know, all those would have worked great in the same preparation, 100%. But that's it, you guys. So look, if you make this dish, or if you make any of the dishes the day before, remember, hashtag Simon with a Y, dinners. These are going to continue to be on, they're going to continue to be live on the Food Network Kitchen Facebook page, 5 o'clock every day. You could also tag at Food Network. You could tag at Chef Simon, which is my Instagram, my Twitter, and my Facebook.
Wait.
What?
What about the sauce that we put on the side?
Oh my gosh.
Everyone reminded us.
Here. That was for a little, if you wanted to do a little garnish at the end. See? I need you guys. I saved the sauce, I forgot. I need you. Thank you, everybody, for looking out for me. I will see you tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Can't even remember what we're making tomorrow yet, but maybe I'm going to have some wine. It'll help my memory. See you tomorrow, guys.